Burnout. Woo! What's up, people? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Giants Guys. It's that podcast you love to hate. And yes, I am here to host this wonderful show that you've been so kind to tune in. Of course, I can't do it alone, so I bring in a bunch of my good friends. Today, I've got the Truth and I got Chris in the background. Just want to start off the show letting everybody know thank you for all of your prayers and very beautiful, nice words of support for the Santucci Rush family. It's been a trying week, so to speak, and it has been a learning day by day type of process. So really wanted to send my love and appreciation to all you folks for supporting the Rush family and of course the Santucci family. So it's been a learning process, without a doubt. And my condolences go out to, my prayers go out to the families that will be affected by that tragedy for the rest of their lives. Hopeful that no one ever has to go through that again. So we hope we can do a better job with whether it's guns or mental health or whatever it is. We hope that we can all bond together and somehow make the world a better place. So with that said, we do want to talk some football. We want to have a little bit of fun. I could use a laugh. Okay. I could use a laugh. So I really could use a laugh. I hope you guys will say some obnoxiously crazy, ridiculous things in the chat, which will make me smile. And I could really use that too. It's been a really heavy week of heavy lifting over here. So let's bring in the guys. Let's bring in Truth. Michael.
Hello, how are you, bud?
What's up? I'm glad you were here. See your smiling face. Let's bring in Nails because he's always in a good mood. If you ever need to be in a good mood, Chris is the guy to get you in a good mood. Because look, see, he's always smiling.
You put me in a good mood, Craig. You and Truth and the whole crew and all our followers.
I hope so, because
sure.
I could use as many smiles and laughs today as possible, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I know you guys are kind of piling in the room now. I see Cole. You got I do have the Clark Kent kind of hair going on today.
I like Spartan. He called you Edward Scissorhand.
No, okay. Edward Scissorhands is a little too far. All right. But again, I can't help it. It's the hair is what the hair is. James, good to see you. Darius, great to see you. Jay, of course, Joe, you guys are like family. Danny's in the house.
Hey, my buddy.
You guys are great. Love you guys. Really do appreciate all the support. Hope more guys are popping in. I see you guys come in. Hey, Allison. Hey, Harry. What's up? So we are going to talk some Giants football. I just hope you wanted to let you guys know thank you for everything that you guys have been so amazingly supportive this week. And it has been something that I cannot explain because, of course, have never experienced anything like what we've gone through over the last week. So appreciate everything. And all you Big Ten fans out there, every one of your schools were just absolutely tremendous on the support they've showed Michigan State and their faculty, their students, their athletes, their parents. So kudos to everybody out there. Let's talk some Giants football. You guys good with that?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's talk some Giants football. It's always better to have Wes is saying scissor hands too. Come on, Wes. I need you guys to support the King Rush, not make fun of the King Rush. No, just kidding. Just kidding. All right, so let's talk about this, guys. It is a show. What I like to say, it's basically Jones, and Jones. Right now, it is the topic, and regardless of how much we love to avoid this topic, right? Because it's heavy and it's like, oh man, we're gonna pound this to death until he signs a piece of paper somewhere. Let's just start off with this, Chris. The first thing that jumps out at me is, McKinney changes his agent. Jones changes his agent. I said it 2 weeks ago when McKinney did it. Change your agent, usually a sign of you want someone more acclimated, not only with your position, right, but has a history of getting you a good sum of money. What's your thought on just the agent change?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that CAA couldn't get it done?
Well, the interesting part is CAA is with Tom Condon, who represented Eli Manning, and the bond Jones has with Eli. So that's the part that raises a little bit of a red flag. Him leaving Tom Condon and going with Athletes First. Now, there's all rumors out there that maybe some of the people he worked with over at CAA went to Athletes First. Then there's the other question: did the negotiations actually start? Because you've heard on NFL radio today by Pat Kerwin, I'll give him a plug, but he actually said, if there's negotiations taking place already, and then he were to leave and change to a different agent, that original agency would possibly be sued because they want partial commission on working with Jones in the beginning stages. So I don't know what to believe. Do we have definitive proof that actually negotiations have begun, or is it a matter of Jones just saying, you know what, I want to get this deal done, and you guys aren't really doing anything right now. We have to start moving on this. And did he switch because of that? So, all these questions we have. So I'm not sure what to believe.
Yeah. And what I do know is that there's that 5-day grace period when you go from agent to agent. But I did hear later this afternoon that was waived. Okay. So
that's good. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So as of yesterday, when we were talking, the handful of us were talking in the Rush chat. We have a Rush chat, people, where we talk our business, right? What we're going to talk about during the week and stuff. And we vent a lot in there too. And I had mentioned that, yes, by rule, regulation, whatever you want to call it, there's a 5-day grace period after changing agents for the next agent to be able to step in. And then this afternoon, again, you don't know what to believe, but I heard that was waived. So now that waive could be because, like you said, maybe it was an agent that hopped over to Athletes First, or maybe CAA realized, you know what, we're not going to fight you on this. You know what I mean? And they washed their hands. I don't know, and nobody knows realistically, except for Jones, right? And and the Giants. So, Truth, what's your thought on him switching agencies? You think this is a good thing or a bad thing?
I'm trying to be optimistic here. And when I first saw that, and we were in our little chat, I kind of looked at what Chris just pointed out, that maybe the original agent was taking too long to get the ball rolling. He wanted to make a deal. So I'm thinking positive here. I think he wants to accelerate this, and I think he wants to get a deal done with the Giants and move on. That's what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm hoping.
And Craig, ironically, the tags start tomorrow, right? So tomorrow the tags run up until March 7th. So it is ironic that it just happened yesterday. So I'm hoping Jones wants to get something done, and let's get a move on it, because I know he's probably being told by the Giants and between the agents that they'll put a tag on him, and that's something he probably doesn't want.
I'm getting a ton of stuff in the chat. I'll throw it up here because
I don't think the Giants want to do that either. I'll be honest with you.
I would agree with that. Hey, Chris, peace. Hey, Darius. I see you guys all rolling in. Great to see you guys. Jay had a point here a second ago, which is probably right. Okay. We're overthinking it probably, right?
That's what I think.
But again, and the only reason why I threw that up there was because we are being led to believe, some of it by the media, some of it by our own. Hey, Mark, welcome in. Some of our brains, work a certain way, right? So not only are we led down this path, but we're led to believe that this changing agencies because he wanted to go from 25 to 35 or 30 to 40. So whether that's done on purpose or not, Jay's point of overthinking is definitely accurate. We are definitely overthinking it without a doubt, right? Because that's what we do as fans. Mm-hmm. And then actually our own Spartan Mike's jumping in and saying there could be, that the agent was asking for too much commission, right? Like I don't see, the only reason why I say no to that is because, Mike, from what I understand is it's kind of like when guys get drafted, they're slotted, right? They're slotted into a certain bracket. These guys have commission structures already set in place. Yeah. So aha moments. So like Jones, any player for that matter knows what their agent gets. 10%, 12%, 15%, 18%, whatever it is. You don't go into it not knowing that if your agent's going to ask for more money. So
Yeah, I think it's already set. Yep.
yeah, so I don't think that could happen, Mike. Again, I'm not in that world. I think we do have some connections to some agents. I think Chris, you were working on some stuff. I
Yep.
was working on some stuff. We got to get it. We got to get an agent in. We got to get an agent on the show, maybe as soon as next week if we can.
Yeah, it's funny. We talked about it. My good friend Rob Roche, he represents Justin Tucker, represented about 5 or 6 other Giants the past few years. A lot of kickers and snappers, but he's leaving for the combine next week, so maybe we can get him on before that, or if not, right after.
Yeah,
But
tell him we'd love to have him on because it is a conversation. Like Mike's point, it's interesting. I don't think it's possible that the agent was asking for more money because ahead of time, what the fee is. You know what I mean? Like it's already pre-negotiated. Like when you sign a contract, like, hey, I get you X and I get Y.
Yeah, and I really don't think Jones is going to want a hometown discount either. I don't see that either. So,
look,
go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was going to ask you guys, everybody out there, would you give 2 first-round picks for Daniel Jones?
No,
nobody would.
All right, so there's something called the non-exclusive tag. So the non-exclusive tag, Giants could put that on Jones. That allows him to freely negotiate, him and his agent, with any NFL team. They come back with the price. The Giants have a right to match it and to sign him. And if another team were to sign him away, they would owe the Giants 2 first-round picks. It is a risk. You have teams like Washington. Snyder's still in charge. Is he somebody that would throw him $45 million? So you do take a risk. But the 2 advantages, if you do lose him, you get the 2 first-round picks, and it does allow him to set the market for his value. So just something to think about. I'm not sure the Giants would do that, but that would be an interesting move, the non-exclusive tag.
Well, let me tell you something that I was thinking as I was putting some notes together for today. When the season started, guys, we were all tossing around like what we wanted to see, what he'd have to prove, what would he have to do. And in the back of my head, I had a number of 19 million. Okay. Like that was like my thought was if he has a good year, he gets 19 million.
Yeah, not even close, right?
Right. No. Then when the season was pretty much over before the playoffs, I'm like, crap, he's going to get 25 million. Right. Now we're looking at 35, 40 with the rumors going around. So let me ask you this. This is a 2-point question. So don't run too far with the question. Is this. So, and I actually, me and Spartan were talking about this today, gentlemen, is if Daniel Jones wants, let's say 40 million, let's just say that's the number, right? Anything is better than 38 is better than 40, 35 is better than 40, 30 is better than 40, right? Anything below 40 is better than what he wants. My question to you is, at that point, if you were almost willing to give him that money and then you walked, right? You had a walk number. Your walk number was, let's say, 35. You had 35. So my question to you, Chris, is do you, and I'll throw up the tag, because we're going through the process, is this. Do you trade for a quarterback? Because the question is now, I was going around over here. Jones 35. Do I trade for X at 30, get a starting quarterback and save money? Do I trade for at 25? So my question to you, Chris, is pure and simple. Anything under what Jones is asking, would you trade for a quarterback? And if you would, who would it be?
Oh my goodness.
Anything under what Jones is asking?
So if Jones asks for 40, you could probably take 30 and go out and trade for a quarterback.
I guess I mean, I don't know. There's so many teams looking. There's about 7 or 8 teams that need quarterbacks. So I don't know if that's a guarantee. I don't know if you could take that risk.
That's my question. Would you
I don't know.
put that on the table? And if you would trade for a quarterback, who would it be?
I don't know. That's
all you got?
For 30 million?
Yeah.
I mean, 30 million.
You're limited right there.
What's that?
You're limited if you say 30
You're
million.
limited. I mean, for 30 million, I don't know what you're looking at. What is
You got
Garoppolo?
Tannehill. He made 29.
Yeah, that's what you're looking at. Is Garoppolo getting 30 million? Derek Carr is probably because the franchise tag is 32 million. So you got to think anybody you're getting is going to be 32 or more. So I don't think you do.
We'll get to that in a second. My question is, would you trade for a quarterback? If Jones walks, would you trade for a quarterback?
Read the Giants.
If Jones walks, you wouldn't have. I would say, yeah. If Jones walk, you would have to.
Okay, so you're saying you would trade first before going like free agent quarterback. You would attempt to trade for a QB.
There's nobody in free agency anyway. It doesn't matter, really.
Yeah, if Jones walks, I would look to. I mean,
you have to get a yeah. I'll help you, Chris. I'll help you.
Yeah, Chris is stuck.
It's stumped because you don't know who you're working with. I mean,
I'm gonna get there in a second.
Okay.
Let me
I'm just trying to see
answer this.
if trading for a QB or starting a rookie quarterback is what you'd rather do.
I'd rather trade for one than start a rookie quarterback.
All right, Truth. Are you trading for a quarterback?
Well, if Jones walks, you have to, but it's not going to be a $30 million quarterback. They're going to find a low end bridge quarterback, and then Joe Shane is going to be on a hunt for a quarterback in the next draft or two. That's what's going to happen. I actually mentioned this in Twitter that don't be surprised if Jones goes somewhere else. It could happen.
It could happen.
It could happen, and I'm hoping it doesn't. I like the guy, and a lot of people don't, but I think we haven't seen the best of Daniel Jones yet. With a better line, better talent around him. But if he decides he wants to move on, and let's not forget, what he wants is not what he's going to get. He's not going to get $40 million from anybody. There's no way.
So let me do two things for you, gentlemen, and everyone else out there in Giant Land. I'm going to read to you the top paid quarterback. Actually, you know what? No, let's start here. Yes or no question. Truth. Do the New York Giants regret not giving him a 5th-year option?
Well, do they regret it? I don't think Joe Shane sitting there regrets it. I don't believe so. You make a decision, you stick by it. It's over. It's done. Jones could have easily faltered and repeated his previous years. And, let's say he fumbled 15 plus times and now you're stuck with, I don't know what the 50 option would have been, how much money, if I don't know how much, I didn't look. But then, then there's doubt. And he'd probably be looking to draft a quarterback now too in this draft because of that. So I don't think so. I don't think they regret it.
Chris, do they regret it not giving him a 5th
not
year?
at all. How could I mean? This is a new regime that came in here with Joe Shane and Dable. They weren't working with Jones before. They had to see what they were working with. That would have been a stutid move to put a tag on them without even seeing him play. And he missed 6 games last year. And how could you put a tag on a guy with everybody was saying he had surgery? Like they didn't even know the truth. Like, they knew, but there were so many questions about him. Was he even going to play again? There was questions. No way. I think they made the smart move.
I agree with you because I said, and actually that shout out to Cold because he asked me this during the day, and I said, look, at this type of level, at this type of executive level, running a football team, they don't doubt any decisions they make. For one, 2, think about you get a new job. You're not gonna go give a guy a bunch of money you've never seen him play, his work ethic, what he brings to the table. So I don't think there's no opportunity for them to doubt that because why would I give a guy all this money? My first move in the office is to give a guy that I don't know can stay healthy. I don't know if he could play. I give him an extra year. So agreed. I am on the same page with both of you that they don't, not only do they not regret it, that they were never going to give him that option, because again, the track record, the body of work, right? And 2 new guys in a new position aren't just going to write blank checks, right?
Yeah.
So let's move that to this because this
Hey,
is
Craig, by the way, I changed my mind. I would not trade. I just, what? That would be stupid, in my opinion. And you can't trade because
but you're gonna need depth. I mean, we can just cut Taylor. Who else can
we need the Giants need the assets. There's going to be 7 other teams they're looking to trade to for possibly for quarterbacks. You'd have to roll with Tyrod Taylor for 1 year and then draft somebody if you like them in a later round.
But there's still another quarterback.
So then it comes into play is, do you really want to win or not? Because there are quarterbacks probably available. Tyrod came in one play this year, got knocked unconscious. He is not the guy. Like he's not even a bridge quarterback. No offense to Tyrod. He's had a really nice career. He's just not a bridge quarterback. He's a guy that's going to win you 3 games. Like, do we really want to go from wild card winner to the bottom of the barrel again, the doormat of the NFC? Like, not just the NFC East. We go right back. We go right back to stage 1. Right. with Tyrod. And I know maybe a lot of people be like, Tyrod, dude, the guy came in and got knocked out his first play in the game. Like,
yeah, he's not the answer.
The game is past Tyrod, but he's too small. Right. The game's too fast. So let me read you this. This is why I asked you about the trading possibilities. All right. I'm going to throw this up there so everybody knows what I'm talking about. Here are the top paid QBs and their averages of what they make per year. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Rodgers, 50. Wilson, 49. Murray, 46. Watson, 46. Mahomes, 45. Allen, 43. Stafford, 40. Prescott, 40. Cousins, 35. Goff, 33.5. Wentz, 32. Ryan, 30. Tannehill, 29.5. Those are the top paid quarterbacks. Let me see how many I just read you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's the top 13 paid quarterbacks in the NFL, all making $29 million a year or more. Why I read you that list, the interesting part of it is that in my opinion, is that 7 of those QBs are utterly and completely not worth the money they're getting paid and will not ever win a Super Bowl. And that's right now, Wilson's not going to win a Super Bowl anymore. No. I don't think he has it in him, right? I don't think Murray's winning you a Super Bowl, and he's way overpaid. I have no idea what to think of Watson. I mean, like,
overpaid.
Yeah, overpaid. Prescott, I mean, I don't know if he could win a Super Bowl, but I don't see him doing it in Dallas.
No.
Okay?
And by the way, Prescott is represented by Athletes First.
Yeah, so is Rodgers.
And so is Watson.
And Watson, yep. We already know Wentz has got injury issues, and Wentz ain't be able to get it done. Listen, Ryan's had a great career. You know what I mean? So he's definitely not worth $30 million anymore. And Tannehill, like, I'm okay with Tannehill, but he's vastly overpaid. But he's done a nice job leaving Miami and breathing life into Tennessee, as he got there, right? I mean, I know he's definitely, a nice player. He's not a great player, but those guys are all getting paid 29 and above. Do we think that Jones is better than any players on this list?
Yes, I do.
I think Jones falls right between Cousins and Goff. That's his area right there, that 33 to 35. That would be
8 or 9 spot. Is that right, Craig? 8 or 9 spot? Is that what that is?
So that would be, if you want to put him between Cousins and Goff, that would be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cousins is 9. Goff is 10. That would make him the 8th highest paid quarterback.
But he's right in that area, that 35 million. That's kind of what we all thought.
Yeah. And can I just say something real quick? I think, and this is just my opinion, if you're playing the GM here, I think the Giants want to get a deal done with Jones. If it's within their numbers, they don't want to tag him because that means you're going to have to sign Barkley, and that's good. And I think if you do that, that's going to be a war, worse with Barkley. I don't see it happening. I think there's going to be. I think they want to tag Barkley for a lot less, $10 million.
Listen. Barkley's not paying. Barkley's not playing for 12. He already said it.
Right. So there's going to be an issue there. I think they'd rather tag Barkley and get a deal done with Jones. That's what I think. Yeah,
you're saying if you tag Jones, then you're pretty much saying goodbye to Barkley. That's
you can't exactly. You can't tag two. Only one tag per year. You can't.
Yeah. And we have to remember, and we have to remember with the franchise tag, it doesn't mean it stays in place. That franchise tag is a placeholder. That allows the Giants to still negotiate past that March 7th deadline.
Right.
So just because they franchise him doesn't mean a deal can't get done. It's just going to give the Giants a little more time to get something done. So it's not the end if they do tag him. Hopefully they can still work something out.
Yeah.
Okay. Question.
Okay.
Truth. Jimmy G, yes or no?
So this is so he's still in the contract, right? I'm assuming.
Because he's a guy that I could see, getting less than the rest of these guys because he hasn't done anything.
I tell you right now, if I was a GM, I'd be very stingy with my picks, and to get a Jimmy G, I don't know what he's making. Assume he's making less than 30 million. Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, well, we know he's making less than 30 million. He's not on his list.
I would not give the 49ers, maybe the best I'd give them would be that compensation pick, 3rd round, and another day 3 pick for him. I would never go more than that. So if they say yes, I would do that.
All right.
You need a quarterback. You can't go with Taylor. You can't go with
Somebody in the chat, look up how much money Jimmy G's making. Chris, I know this gentleman's going to cost some cake, but it'll be his last contract, but he could be worth it. Chris, what do you think about Carr?
I like Carr better than Garoppolo. At least Carr's going to play in more games. I would be, if you lose Jones, I would definitely, if he's still available, I'd go right to Carr right away.
How much is that going to cost you think?
Well, it's not going to cost you $30 million because he's not on his list.
Maybe
Carr makes $40 million. I thought.
Listen, what I read you was the average of what they make per year.
Okay.
So Carr may make $40 million this year, but his average in his contract is not $30 million.
All right, someone can look that up and let us know.
Yep. Yeah. I just read you what the average is right now on those players.
Darius says Jimmy G's worse than Jones. We understand. We're not trying to say he's better.
Right.
We're saying if Jones leaves, what alternative we have? Jimmy G's better than Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find a quarterback for the next 2 years. Okay, that's what you're trying to do.
Let me ask you a question. What about a player like Heineke, guy in that kind of realm for just 2 years?
Now, don't jump ahead, Truth. Don't jump ahead.
I'm doing a Chris, aren't I?
I'm trying to behave tonight. I know. Truth, bad boy.
Jay, we know Jimmy G's not that good. All we're trying to do is find someone that doesn't make this team a 2 or 3 win team. And Jimmy listen, he may get hurt all the time, but he does win when he plays.
Yeah, he's better than Taylor. So he's
better than Taylor. All right. Next guy would be is Cousins. Now Cousins makes 35, but I don't think he's the future in Minnesota. So would Cousins be something, Truth, that you wanted?
No, I don't want him.
All right.
I don't want him.
Chris, this one could be super interesting because I'm so interested to see what happens in his early career here is Purdy. So
he's coming off the surgery. I would say no. You don't even know how effective he'd be.
But he'd be dirt cheap.
He would be, but why wouldn't he? Why would they get rid of him if he's dirt cheap?
Because they know right now they're one team away from the Super Bowl.
Well,
they're going to go out and get a quarterback.
Yeah, well, that's why I guess Garoppolo is going to be out of there. So
listen, 49ers go against Jones, they win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my question is like, Kelly says Purdy isn't going anywhere, but he's coming off surgery. I don't know if they need him. Like, why would I wait for Purdy to come back healthy when I can go get a Super Bowl winning quarterback?
What's going on with Lance? What's his status in his recovery?
Well, I don't know. Lance seems to be forgotten.
Okay. Wow.
I think they're going to fight it out in training camp. That was the what I heard.
Yeah, no doubt, Jay. I'm with you. All right. So I'm gonna throw some wild cards at you here. Because I don't remember if these guys got 1-year deals or 2-year deals. So I got 2 names for you, and don't freak out Trey Lance is terrible. Zero ball. Yeah, Jay's 100%
Jay,
right.
Jay, chill, chill out.
Yeah, listen, Trey Lance is not very good. He's right. All right. 2 names for you. Don't all freak out. Just asking for names. Just throwing names out here. Chris, I'm assuming this guy would be available, and I know everyone's going to cringe when I say it, but Baker. Do you want Baker?
It's intriguing. Over Tyrod Taylor? Probably. Whatever's left. I mean, he's out there. He's out there. So
he will come cheap.
Yeah. Over if it came down to, him or if it came down to Garoppolo and him and Tyrod Taylor, I would probably roll with Baker. 2-year deal.
Yeah, I would too, because he'd be cheaper, and you're just looking for a bridge and until you find your new franchise.
I'm putting Kelly's comment up here because it was the first thing I thought of too. Is that Baker would implode?
Great point. Absolutely, he might.
But all those people like all over Kelly, it's a great point. I don't really have a problem with Baker, like the way he plays the game. I've been calling him Baker beer pong for 5 years now. You know what I mean? But like, oh my goodness, would he crumble?
Yeah, it would be rough.
Darius says Baker may feel
absolutely. Can I just say something? I love our viewers, but these are just options if we need.
Right. These are desperate moves. These are desperate moves.
Yeah, folks. All I'm looking for is that if Jones wants 40 and we don't pay it, we're just looking at players that are out there that could be a bridge to drafting somebody. Right?
This is like there's a game on Sunday and we need a quarterback. Who can we get?
Exactly. All right, last guy, and I can't remember if he got a 1-year or 2-year deal, was Andy Dalton.
Yes, I would.
All right, Chris, you want to?
Yeah, I can tell Chris Wooden. I can tell his face.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if there's nothing out there, I guess
Yeah, nothing out there, of course. I mean,
there's nothing out there.
Dalton's not a bad veteran. He's a team player, and he won't cost you a lot.
Right. You know what? If you're desperate,
he's better than Taylor. He's better than Taylor.
Here you go. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Listen, we don't know what the real truth is, whether Jones moved on from CAA because they were dragging their feet or not. We don't know if he was like going to get him a 30 and he wanted a 40. Again, Jay, remember, we're not in love with we're not in love with Jimmy. We're not in love with Dalton or Baker or any of these guys. I'm only making a point. Is Darnold? Yeah, like I'm. All we're trying to think is who's going to quarterback the New York Giants if Jones walks, and that we don't have to suck completely. Because the difference between me and a lot of you folks is somehow you're okay with sucking, right? Like
Craig, ask Jay if he would take Tyrod Baker over those 3 guys.
Jay, would you take Tyrod and Baker over Dalton?
Just respond.
Jay, would you take Baker over Tyrod? Look, I'm doing a one-on-one thing here. So or Darnold, by the way. So my question is, guys, and I say this a lot to you guys, is Tyrod can't last the game. Can't do it. He got knocked out the first play he came in.
Some fans love Taylor. Okay.
So, all right, he said no way. All right, so listen, all I'm trying to figure out is who quarterbacks for the New York Giants next year, because you're not drafting a quarterback with the 25th pick, okay? So you're reaching into the second, you're reaching in the third for a guy, right? Tyrod's not the guy. My point is this: the coaches now, they had expectations, right? It was a 4-win team. The expectations were there to get to 6 wins, okay? They won 10 games. They went to the playoffs. The expectations are higher. Listen, this isn't like here's the keys and run with it. Everyone has, expectations on what they're required to do year to year. That doesn't exclude GM Joe or Dable. So they're going to be expected to have a competitive football team. There will be no excuses, right, for a bad football team. So if Jones walks, which I'm sure Mara will lose his mind, okay, like that meme when you see him in the chair, it's one of my favorites. But they're going to have a backup plan, a succession plan, and Tyrod ain't it. So, like, I don't know where they're getting a QB from. I'm just throwing out, like, I read you off the top 13 paid guys. Carr's, again, average. Carr can do it, right? Garoppolo can win games, but he's never healthy. Baker's a head case, but he shows a lot of moxie, could be a good bridge, right? Like as Truth said, Dalton just gets it done.
We're not getting Richardson in the draft, first of all. Someone said Richardson. He ain't lasting until 25.
Yeah, listen, and
he's a project anyway.
I will go on record saying this, as I do every single year. A quarterback, you do not want a quarterback in your team that the last experience he had was his senior year in high school.
Right.
Okay.
1 year wonder.
These guys need maturity. They need experience. They need leadership. They need to overcome obstacles. Sitting on the sideline in the NFL with a clipboard does not make them any better and ready to play. They need the experience, the leadership qualities. They need to be a leader of men. They need to know how to train their bodies, what to eat, how to sleep, when to party, when not. They need to know all those things, and you don't get them at the NFL level. They're expecting you to be a pro because they just paid you a ton of money. And you can't have a guy who starts 1 year as your franchise QB. It's history proves out these guys don't make it.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Knowing Joe Schoen, the way we've seen him operate, if that happens and Jones leaves, he's going to look for somebody in the lower mid tier kind of quarterback he could find. Maybe he might go through a practice squad. He's very resourceful. He's not going to go in for a high-end guy like Jimmy G. He's going to look for somebody for a bridge and look for that quarterback for the future through the draft. That's how he operates.
I'll give you a name. Jacoby Brissett. That could be
I know you saw that. And that's a good one. That's the same long lines as a low end
bridge.
He's better than Taylor. He is better than Taylor.
Tommy G's in the house. What's up, Tommy?
Tommy.
Yeah. So you're right.
G.
Look, there are 11 picks in the draft, right? 11 picks. We're not giving away those picks. They're not signing with the 25th pick. They're not drafting a quarterback. They're not putting a quarterback on the bench to learn behind Tyrod. Like, again, the expectations are high. They just won a lot of games. They're not going back. And you can look at, they took a small step back from a 9-win team to a 6-win team when they signed Josh Allen. They're not afraid to do it. That's the only thing people need to remember, that they went from a wild card team at 9 wins, I think it was, to a 6-win team when they drafted Josh Allen. Okay. They're not afraid to do it, but they really better like that QB. Right.
Let me ask you a question, Craig, because I don't know this. I want to make sure. And I know this has happened in the past. When a player gets tagged and he could sit out if he wants to, can he?
Yep.
And he can force a trade, can he not? If he really wants to and you want to.
They own his rights. So you're kind of forcing it. Well, like, does the team want to just put you on the bench and give you Umgats, or do they want to move you to get something for you?
Right. So, the fact that we could tag Jones doesn't mean he's going to stay. I know Zane, Belt guy on there, he made that comment. He could force the Giants to just, let's just part ways now, because he ain't going to play now this year because he doesn't want to accept the tag.
Yeah, but Jones doesn't.
It actually happened with Josh Norman.
Yeah, but you can't compare the cornerback to the quarterback.
No, I know. I'm just saying they put the tag on him and then they traded him. That's all. Like, it does happen. It's happened, but I think they're going to keep him. I think they're going to tag him. Worst case.
Right, and again, I don't think this is going to. I think they're going to find a way to get it done and make a deal with Jones.
Yeah.
So,
and guys, we're not talking about the structure, right? The length of the contract. I mean, the first 2-3 years. So, I mean, I'm sure that's a big part of it too. We're looking at just that one number, but the way it's actually going to be structured is probably just, obviously as important as what that yearly amount would be. But they're gonna-
I'm looking at the rideouts. Dan is saying Jones cannot hold out. What makes Jones different than the other guys who've held out? I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out.
Quarterbacks don't normally hold out because, like I said, they, somebody wants them. So they're normally, if they're not going to sign the tag, it's usually going to be a trade because someone else really wants them that bad.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know what he's saying that he can't hold out, meaning
I think
he has no choice.
I think he's basically saying he can't hold out like he can, but it won't happen.
All right. I hope that's what
Listen,
he's saying.
the Giants would be stupid probably just to let him hit free agency because you might as well.
That's why I think a deal's going to get done.
Right, because you might as well put the non-exclusive tag on him because if anybody signs him, they owe you 2 first-round picks.
Right.
So now let's go the other route here. We've gone down. The media has kind of like fired us up to the point where we are believing that Jones is basically robbing and pillaging towns for this $40 million. We don't know if that's why he switched agents.
Right.
It could be that CAA, like for instance, I've said this before, there isn't an agent on the planet that's going to endorse a 2-year out. It's not happening. They're all about security of their players. And then you guys have been pounding down on this 2-year out thing. Not happening.
Not happening.
Quarterbacks are not taking a 2-year out. 3-year with an option, sure. Not a 2-year out. Maybe CAA couldn't get a 3-year done. Right. Maybe he couldn't get a 5-year done. So we don't know why that he got rid of CAA. You thought normally that would happen, right? It could be that he wants all the money possible, but it could be as easy as that CAA wasn't getting it done fast enough, or they were jamming down a deal down his throat he didn't like. So we don't know. We're not going to know. I'm just making the point that there is a walk number, and let him get whatever he wants, but paying him 40 is not in the cards.
Yeah. Right. I agree.
And once again, we had the whole season. I know the agents talk behind the scenes, but it's ironic. It's 2 days before the tags can happen. And this has happened. And they waived the 5-day, grace period. So that tells you right. I mean, if you just connect the dots a little bit, it seems like you would hope that they want to get a deal done because he knows the tag's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, like you said, the body of work isn't there. He wants to play. And I think he wants to be here.
I do too.
But again, realistically, it should be 30 and done, and let's move on. I just asking for, if it is asking 40, I just don't think that's happening.
Nah, no. Again, he can ask for what he wants, but it's different than what he's going to get.
Yeah. So let me kind of segue to this next section here that I put on here, guys, and I called it phasing fans out. When you start talking about $100 million a year for a quarterback, to recoup that kind of money, it comes right from the fans. The billionaire owners don't care, right? If they're paying these guys because the ticket prices go up higher. Like, do you guys see this happen? Either a cap for quarterbacks. You know what I mean? I even said to Spartan, what I would do? I'd be the first college quarterback that ran the Wildcat, and I would I would have a wide receiver or a running back that could play quarterback. And, you're the first guy that can play 2 positions. And when I went to the NFL, I'd get paid $10 million to play QB. I'd get $10 million to play wide receiver. And as far-fetched as that sounds, is that the way we're going? If you're paying $100 million for a guy to play 16 games, max 20, are we off our rocker? Is the NFL going to the point where they're going to phase fans out because they won't be able to afford games? Chris?
I don't think so because listen, we're talking about fans that go to the game, season ticket holders, but yeah, maybe they won't pack the stadiums and sell it every game, but the game on TV is one of the best to watch, right? So they're not going to
not lose fans watching, but I'm talking about going to the games.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, ticket prices are expensive. They're not cheap. But
now, with the can you imagine if your PSL doubled or if your season tickets quadrupled, you pay for each seat's $180, $200. Imagine you had to pay $500 to $700 a seat.
Yeah, you couldn't do it, and it's all corporate, right? I mean, the mezzanine in those clubs, it's all corporate now anyway. It's like that's what they want. They want those clubs. They want the corporate, money. They want more boxes. And you know what? With the Amazon deal, the DirecTV deal, I guess with YouTube, I mean, this salary cap keeps going up. I guess in a way, it's relative because the cap just keeps going through the roof. I mean, the NFL is, all they do is make money. They print it. I mean, they don't lose any money. So I mean,
it comes somewhere.
The fans love it.
Truth. Is there a point? Is there a point where that the owners want more money, right? Because they're paying $100 million for a quarterback. Is there a point where the fans just stop going to the games and it's only corporate people?
Gee, I don't know about that, but there will be some fans who will not probably renew there. But from what I gather, and you guys are ticket holders, there's probably 100 of you guys waiting to get tickets right behind you if you leave, right?
Well, there used to be in the old stadium, there was a 22, 23-year waiting list.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And once the new stadium came in and they made the PSLs, now there's tickets available because nobody wants to pay 10, 20 grand for the right to sit in the seat.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And people that can't afford the tickets anymore don't want to pay. They're losing money on the PSLs. They're selling for half of what they even bought them for because they just want to dump them.
PSL was a ripoff and they're not worth crap.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
I just wonder if they get to a point where if you're paying a quarterback $100 million, do you just take it out on the fans and the prices just keep going up for the beer, the hot dogs, the nachos, the seats?
It's got to come out of somewhere.
You know what's funny? Craig, you've been a ticket holder how long, your family?
They've been in my family since 1967.
Oh my gosh. So you think about, let's just say 1980s, and if someone told you back then the tickets, what they are now, are you still going to have season tickets? You say, no way. But here you are, you have them. So they find a way. I don't know how it happens, how it's worked out, but these fans find a way to pay. They find a way.
Well, the seat license is what made it palatable for the Maras and the Tishes because everyone paid $1,000 to sit upstairs, $5,000 to sit in the end zone, $10,000 to sit between the 20 and the 40, and $20,000 between the 40 and the 50. So,
oh boy, wow.
So they got their money, and now that seat license that I own is literally not worth scratch.
Yeah. And think about it, guys. The old Giant Stadium didn't have the club suites. And then you remember those 2 tall towers they built, which turned into club suites. And that wasn't good enough. And when they built MetLife, then they obviously made 2 huge clubs and then the coaches club downstairs. So it's gotten more and more and more corporate since the original stadium.
Yeah. I just worry, that if you don't cap quarterbacks at some kind of money, that, the only people that lose at the end of the day are the fans. Because there's no way you pay quarterbacks $100 million a year. People hear that number and they don't realize you're talking about per year, right? That's got to come out of the fans.
There's always a slowdown in any kind of business. There's always something that things slow down and things grow. Things slow down. It has to.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be alive. I don't think any of us will be alive to say $100 million quarterback. I don't see it.
Truth. We're talking about Rodgers. Is at 50 now?
All right, he's 50, and the NFL started in 1925.
Yeah, but look at the jump, though. Daniel Jones was making $5 million this year. Now he's going to make 40.
Well, that's how the CBA runs it. That's how it is with the contracts. Listen, I mean, Jones has to get minimum. At least what the franchise tag is per year, minimum, right? 32 is it? Right, yep, he has 32. To get that minimum, but he'll probably want a little more. I think Craig nailed it. I think 35 is the magic number.
Yeah. And just think about this, and just think about this, guys. Let's say just for the hell of it, Jones gets on the open market, and Washington or some team throws $42 million at him. Just think what that sets to the quarterback bar. How Jones is viewed within the whole league and the fans. He's now set the bar. Daniel Jones at $42 million. And then you have a guy like Jalen Hurts who's going to be looking for a new contract.
Oh,
he's in the excess of 50.
Yeah, easily. He'll be the highest paid quarterback.
Jalen, I can't throw a Hail Mary Hurts is literally going to get $65 million.
You know what's funny? That he threw a 51-yard pass. That was 51 yards. It wasn't 20, but it did look bad because he started it from his own 30. So it looked pretty bad, but it did go 51 yards. I mean, listen, I'm 63. I can still throw a football over 50 yards.
And Craig, there was a stat today. 8 years ago, the average quarterback salary was $22 million.
How long ago?
8 years ago.
All right. But before that, what was it? 8 years before that, what was it?
I don't know.
Things like the market changes so rapidly. Then it goes slow and stays level. Then it booms and it crashes a little bit.
So let me run this by you, and then we'll skip subjects. We'll keep going. So let's take a concert. I don't know. It doesn't really matter what kind of music you like. You can like country music and go see Luke Combs. You can like rock and want to go see Pearl Jam or the Stones. You know, you can want to see, you know, hip hop. Maybe you want to go see Jay-Z. It doesn't matter what you listen to, right? But with music so accessible, right, online, right, between streaming services and your iTunes and ripping stuff, right? The artists can't make money anymore, right?
They get concerts.
Their music, so they get it from their concerts. So the ticket that used to cost you $100 now costs $5. That $500 ticket is now $2,500, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, you want to sit like, hey, I sat up front to see Jay-Z in Lincoln Park. Well, that $200 ticket now is now $1,000. So it's the same thing if you take it over to football. Football's so easy to watch at home. I get a $10 subscription on Amazon, and I can watch, you know, every game anywhere I want. The money has to come from somewhere, right? Yeah. So they're going to get you at the stadium, at the arena, at the concert, or at the game. That's just what's happening. All right, let's keep moving. This is one that I wanted to have a little bit of fun with because it was eye-opening. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend that you do. Guys, I pop my little banner up here so you guys know what I'm talking about. It's the XFL updates. So just yesterday, I literally watched the replay from the XFL, and oh my goodness, it was revolutionary. And you say to yourself, how could the NFL not get this right? They literally had the guy in the booth. I wrote it down here. He had 14 different frames, and he would drag a frame over into the thing, watch it, drag another one over, watch it, and literally tell the ref in his ear, hey, I see both feet down. That's a catch. Let me get you a new marking and a time period. Like no refs with the booth over top looking at all these views. They send it right upstairs. So do yourself a favor, go to Twitter, type in XFL replay, and hit search. And they'll literally show you Dean Blandino in the booth, literally talking right down to the ref on the field. The ref is saying, Dean, I can't hear you. I got some static. He's like, I got left foot down. I got right foot down, inbounds. That's a catch. You know, let me get you a new spot and a time. Revolutionary. And I'm sitting there like, how does the NFL not know this? And Dwayne Johnson's pickup league knows how to do
it. You know why they don't? You know why?
Commercial timeout.
I'll tell you why. No, because the NFL doesn't want transparency. Everything's a secret. They don't tell us. They don't want you to know anything. God forbid you went behind a curtain. They don't want that. We have to all be in the dark. That's the way they like it.
Yeah, it is. It is that. Did either one of you see it?
I did. I thought it was awesome. I wouldn't watch the whole game or a couple of them. I saw bits and pieces. I love the kickoff.
I didn't see the kickoff. What was so good about the kickoff?
Well, the kickoff, they put both kickoffs, the kickoff team and the receiving team, like on the 30-yard line of the receiving team's end. And they have the kicker kick down, I guess, at the 40-yard line or the 35. So the reason is, so these guys aren't going 100 miles an hour down the field for concussions. It's set up where they're 5 yards apart, and they don't have that head of steam to hit the return.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So that's a great idea.
Love it.
Check it out.
Well,
YouTube
again,
it.
And if you haven't seen it, just, hit it on Twitter.
Yeah,
hit
very cool.
XFL replay. And I'm just watching him. Literally has a main screen, touch screen. He's got 14 frames that are around the the perimeter of the screen, and he's dragging in the view that he wants. I was like this.
Awesome.
How do we not have this on Sunday?
Yeah.
Right?
You're right. You got 4 or 5 guys under the hood trying to figure it out.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Okay, keep it moving. Just so we get some housekeeping in. We are the Giants, guys. We need you to hit the subscribe button. You don't know what the subscribe button means? All it is it's like a bell. It lets you know every time we drop some content. It just says, bing, the Giants guys have dropped some content. We're not charging you. There's nothing to it, but it helps us out. If you support us, which you guys have been great at, we can monetize the site with commercials, and it helps us bring you those great interviews that you like. What did we just interviews? Hey, I'm new to the Giants, guys. What do you mean interviews? Oh, glad you asked. Well, we interview usually a Giants player once a month. This year has been great. We have done Daniel Bellinger, Tynes, Kiwanuka, Dan Belton, Chase Blackburn. We've done a bunch of really cool interviews this year. Brandon Tierney from The Fan. So they're all on the YouTube channel. So if you hit subscribe, which helps us out, you'll know when we drop new content. Website, nygiantsrush.com. Basically, it houses all our stuff. The Truth, he bangs out like 2 or 3 articles a week. He's great with that. Wednesday is our other show. Monday night, the Giants guys. Wednesday, Rush Hour, hosted by Nikki Sixx. And then what we call, basically, it's like Robin Hood. What's that term? A merriment group of people that show up. Like, she's always got someone cool on, betting people. She's got fantasy people on there. She's going to talk March Madness. She's going to do Rush March Madness pool. So get involved with the Wednesday show. Thursday show, well, that's the Truth. Truth and Spartan are crushing the draft. Yes, they've already got 2 weeks in. They're talking about the draft. So if you're a real junkie for offensive linemen, linebackers, and cornerbacks, these guys know about it. Tune in, just check it out. And then you're saying, but look, I can't watch YouTube all the time. That's another great point. You can listen to it on Spotify. You can listen to it on Amazon Music. You can listen on Google Play. You can listen on Stitcher for you Android folks. Okay, Apple Pods, wherever you go. Walking the dog, going to the gym, on the treadmill, whatever you're doing. Just pop it in, listen to it, subscribe. We love you folks. You're great. Chris, last thing to wrap and put a bow on this sucker is 14 players got signed this past week. Guys all basically getting future contracts. Of course, one stands out above them all. That would be Isaiah Hodgins. What's your take on, bringing him back? And, does that change the bar on who they draft or go after in free agency?
I think it's awesome. An exclusive rights free agent under 3 years experience. The most you can sign him for is $870,000. And that's what they did. Awesome deal. 1 year deal. No, it doesn't change anything. I mean, listen, he could possibly be a 2, definitely a 3, but it does not change the fact we need a number 1 receiver on the outside.
True.
But I love
your thoughts about bringing Hodgins back? I mean, he looked great this year for playing. I don't know, what did he play? 8 games?
Yeah, something like that. He was fantastic, and he looked like he was with Daniel Jones from the beginning of training camp. Like Chris, I loved it, and I expected it because he was an ERNFA agent. So, but next year we're gonna have to pay him. But we don't have to worry about that. But I agree with Chris. I think he's definitely a 3, and they got to bring a number 1 in.
Yeah, no doubt. I can't see anything changing that. You're looking at a wide receiver and a cornerback in round 1. The word out there, a lot of the, so-called experts are saying about, hey, let's draft another 160-pound wide receiver with Zay Flowers. The dude is great, but I don't know about you guys. But how many small receivers do we have room for on injured reserve? Like, it literally is like the 150-pound guy sits here, the 160-pound guy sits here, the 170-pound guy sits there. Come on, bring me in these guys like Metcalf and these guys like that, like Jefferson. Bring me in these big, tall studs. Why do I have to settle for all these little Mighty Mouse guys? Chris, am I crazy that we need a bigger guy?
But I just want to remind you, Wandell is like 182, so he's not 160. So Richie James is gone. They're not re-signing him. He's all right. Listen, give him a shot. He showed some flashes. He'll be all right.
How many times did he get hurt this year?
Wait a minute.
How many times? What did he get hurt?
How many times? Yeah. How many games did he play this year?
What did he play? 5. So, yeah. All right.
Chris,
people had me on the turf because he was going out of bounds. It was the damn turf.
Right. Hold on, Chris. You were with us on draft night last year when Craig came on. Oh, and the pick was announced. He was like losing it.
Hey, Craig, I give you credit. I think last year you said he was 140. At least we got him up a little bit now. You're at least putting some weight on him.
Okay,
You know what else?
I did not say it was 140 pounds, but
I know. I'm joking.
Truth knows I don't believe in small receivers. Every time you get one, Shepard, Tony, Wandell Robinson, they don't make it in the big boy league.
But he's a
I'm
smart
going
guy.
to give you another name I've seen. Wait a minute. There's another name I've seen, that guy Nathaniel Dell. He's been shown going to the Giants, maybe in round one. I don't know. I don't know which mock draft, but
5'7", 170.
Yeah, he's even smaller
than Zay Flowers.
He's smaller than Flowers.
It also remember Janelle Jernigan? That was another guy we loved drafting back in the day.
Jernigan. Oh my
God.
There's only one big receiver projected to go in round one, and he won't be there when we get there. And that's like Johnson. But I agree with Craig. We need to get some size.
I agree. No, I agree.
I think we're going to see at least. I think they're going to draft 2 wide receivers, and one of them has to be, at least 2. And they got to be both over 6 feet. I really think, and they got to have a little bit of muscle on them.
Take a 5'11" guy, but he's got to be 190 pounds.
Yeah.
These guys can't take a beating.
No, you're right. On the outside, we need that big target. And hey, maybe free agency. We don't know. Maybe Shane pulls off a trade.
What, a wide receiver and a quarterback trade? That would be insane.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think a quarterback trade. I think a receiver trade is more likely.
Why you got to bust my bubble like that? I was feeling really good about that. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Giants Guys. We covered a whole ton of stuff. Hey, look, Jones, we've all come to the conclusion, except for you haters. We know who you are. You know who you are. Is that Jones, fits here, will do well, will ball out with a receiver, will ball out with a little better of a line. But there is a walking point. We all are on the same page with the walking point. You just got to come to the conclusion that it ain't Tyrod. Can you live with Baker? Can you live with Heineke or Purdy or Dalton or whoever it is? Carr, it could be make our all dreams come true, right? You're not going to have the same type of scrambler. But we all know that, the guy threw for 5,000 yards just 2 years ago. So, for whatever his hookups were, that it didn't work with McDaniels. I mean, listen, McDaniels drafted Tebow. That should tell you enough.
That's right.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Giants Guys. That's Chris. That's Nails. That's the truth. You know me. I'm King Rush. Check out the new logos in the store. It's open. I got 5 new logos for you folks. Cold likes to tell me I'm always picking his pocket, which is really funny. I just try to make sure you guys got good stuff to wear. That's all. So do yourself a favor, buy your husband or your girlfriend or your wife or your brother, your uncle, your son, buy him some gear, hoodies. I don't care, mugs, whatever you want. They're all in there. 5 new logos. Check them out. Boom. We will see you guys next week. Love you. Peace.
Adios.
Hard.